So here we are. Yes, we are being recorded and saying hello to everyone who comes to hear about the Feldenkrais Inclusion Initiative. How did we ever come about? And who are we? Three of us here today. Jaclyn Boone, who has her Friday class for us. Katerina, that's me, a Tuesday class. And Alfo, who makes the magic of it all fit together on the beautiful website and helps Katerina with all the little intricacies of the computer. And Alpha, you like to say a bit about you first?
Um, yes, I've been learning focusing. I've been very interested how focusing is related or can figure out many body things and disciplines. Disciplines is a right word.
Fine.
Yeah. Hmm. So I've been practicing Feldenkrais a lot. I'm mixing with focusing things.
Yeah.
So it's for me it's always a pleasure to have this kind of conversations and talks. Yeah.
Yeah. Mixing, Feldenkrais, and focusing. Yeah. And I've been do that, teaching both of those since 2006. I did a training to become a Feldenkrais teacher, and I carried in my suitcase a telephone that I would plug in at the hotel and gave my focusing lessons during the Feldenkrais training. So it was
Hmm.
weaving together. And now many of us are on the Zoom. And Jaclyn,
I would love to encourage more outreach to as many people of all abilities to try the classes. You know, find out where you have a little bit of time in your schedule and pop into the classes and experience the different teachers. You know, I'm Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time. So, West Coast time, if you're an early bird, you could come and you'd be totally welcome. My classes usually have between like 9 and maybe 12 people. And I have been teaching a group of people for probably 15 years, and they just keep coming to that particular time slot. Uh, all ages, all abilities. And I have been teaching Feldenkrais for 24 years
Hmm.
professionally, and that's my main profession. So I feel very fortunate that I can do this. And I think Katerina is doing such a marvelous job providing a value service to people to find us. You know, the Feldenkrais Legacy Forum has, done a lot of interesting things that have not been done before, and I think this is super special. Um, let's see. This is totally unrehearsed. Let's see. When I
Hmm.
teach my classes, my AT Awareness Through Movement classes, sometimes I will say the resource. It might be an Alexandrian Eye lesson. It might be a lesson that I've learned through my mentors, the trainers, the workshops that I've done. Um, I always record my lessons, so if people would like to have them for later, they're available for free. So that's something that I just want to make sure that people know, and even um, Even if they ask me at a later time, I save them. I've got a library of them. What else?
Beautiful, yeah. So sometimes you do an Alexander Yanai lesson. That was when Moshe gave lessons in Tel Aviv, in Israel, on Alexander Yanai Street. And how many did he make?
Oh, what, 700 and some? 11 volumes.
Yes, 11 volumes, 550 of them are translated into English, and there are many more. And some of us who have been teaching for many years, we still enjoy, we practice those Alexander Unai lessons, and we adapt them for our students. Whoever happens to come for the class that day, then that new person is easily comfortable with the lesson that Jaclyn gives or that I give, because that's what it's all about. You do what is easy, you pace a little bit, you see how it works for you, you recognize the changes, and then you can come again and again. And some people like the recordings, some like to just go for a walk and think, oh, what did I do here? Oh, I have a new way of turning. The discovery that we have is so beautiful.
You know, Katerina, that it's really great. Sometimes I'm not really even sure what lesson I'm going to teach, but I've been
Mm.
teaching for, you know, so many years that I kind of just get myself ready and be spontaneous. And I'll say to the beginning of the class, what would you like today? And sometimes they want shoulders. Sometimes they want lower back. So I try to provide something that's asked for. Also, it's very interesting. Some people I get to know a little bit more by having them come to class more frequently, and sometimes before the Zoom, when we're in the Zoom, but before the class actually begins, or perhaps after the class ends, but we're still on the Zoom and we can still have a conversation. Um, I will learn that people work with horses, or they're doing, other kinds of things in their lives that, I can think of, oh, maybe they can learn a little bit about this or about that they can apply to their own profession, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even sweeping the floor.
Dancers, or, sometimes it's people who, unfortunately, may have had a minor stroke and may not want to talk about it. But then, we talk about it. And then where can you make improvement? Where can you make progress with that and change? And change is usually good.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have people that come from all over the country. The majority of the group comes from the East Coast. One woman came from Germany. And so I hope that we can, again, reach out and expand the outreach so that more people can attend these classes and experiment and, you know, try as many as they can.
Yeah.
There's a useful dialogue after the classes or before the classes where the people can talk about uh, tricks or intricacies of their bodies, and it sounds really healing and supportive.
Yeah, yeah. It's not just the body, it's the brain. It's the brain and the body. It's the life cycle that we go through. Oh heck, could be the weather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's engaging, and it's very engaging. And I think the collectiveness of getting more people to have experiences through the Feldenkrais method. It's just beautiful.
Yes. And you spoke of structure. Sometimes we have those Alexander Yanai lessons. In my lessons, we always do the 12 lessons from where? Moshe Feldenkrais, Awareness Through Movement book. And he has not only the 12 lessons, he has little lectures that are about the lessons. And they're so interesting. Some students, we have gotten to lesson 12 and they say, oh, couldn't we do again the same 12 lessons?
Yeah.
And then there are other sources of lessons where Moshe Feldenkrais taught a group of actors, and then where he taught, the psychologist in California. So there are so many places where Moshe gave lessons for who came, and that's what gives us the wide range. And as Jaclyn says, whoever comes, whatever the interest is, then we have, many, many subtleties that we can bring.
Yeah, the principles that we learn about the Feldenkrais method in our training, the principles are very broad. And sometimes we can focus on a body part. Sometimes we can focus on imagination. We can focus on center line, balance. We can, there are so many different ways to approach learning and how to learn about learning. And this is part of, what Moshe wanted everybody to have um, a higher ability, a higher capacity for learning how to learn throughout their entire life. So I think that what you said about the intricacies of the body, yes, it's the intricacies of the body, but also how the brain, the intricacies of that interface, that loop, feedback loop between the brain and the body. I repeat lessons frequently. I find that when people do a lesson again, I don't teach it exactly the same way either. And sometimes doing a lesson 2 or 3 times is so, so interesting because you really start to learn again the intricacies of through a lesson. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. Sometimes the first lesson or the first movement or the first thing is just trial. It's on the second when the brain gets alert. The first one we are aware or intention with many things and trying to do this right. And it isn't on the second when we relax and enjoy the learning. Yeah.
Yeah, when people start to feel more at ease, and I think also trusting that the process may lead to something that is even newer or better than they expected it to be. And so I think that process of deepening or broadening or trusting more in their own self, their whole self. Yeah. I think a lot of people come to Feldenkrais and they may not be sure. What is this stuff?
What is it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and so every time, if it's a little different, if it's a little novel, if it's a little new, and especially if one can make it playful and, bring that sense of joyfulness into it, that I don't know, it elevates that. I don't know, I used a word at one point with one woman. I said, "Do you feel illuminated from the inside
Illuminate.
out?"
Wow. The words come. The words come because there is a space for something new to emerge, a new description, a new movement. oh, a new connection. Yeah. Well, this has been lovely today, and perhaps we'll continue on another track. We'll pause this recording, and thank you so much for coming.